We are now living in a world where more than 65 million people have been forced to flee their homes. That's 24 people displaced every minute, running from wars, from bombs, from persecution, leaving everything behind. No region has been left untouched by the global refugee crisis. The Americas, East, Central and West Africa, Asia and the Middle East. The lives of millions of families have been shattered. And as the scale and number of conflicts around the world have increased, so too have the numbers of refugees prepared to risk their lives at sea to reach the safety of Europe. In 2015, more than 1 million refugees and migrants crossed the Mediterranean and Aegean seas.
Officials say the number of migrants sleeping on the streets of Paris has risen by at least 1/3. This began when the jungle shanty town in Calais was evacuated. Along the bustling boulevards and a canal in the northeastern corner of Paris, hundreds of tents have been pitched by migrants, mostly Africans who say they are from Sudan, with cardboard on the ground to try to insulate themselves from the cold. Colombe Brassel, Paris's deputy mayor in charge of security issues, said while the presence of migrants there is not new, it has grown substantially this week.
Is this the new image of the capital?
I hope not, although it's true that I haven't recognized this district the last year, and that it's shocking to exit the metro, to be confronted with it all the time.
Meanwhile, Angela Merkel's taken inspiration from her party's name, the Christian Democrats, in response to the so-called Islamisation of Germany, literally calling for more harmony.
Ich weiß, dass es Sorgen vor dem Islam gibt. Aber wir sind die Partei mit dem C im Namen. Haben wir eigentlich noch Selbstbewusstsein? Man muss ja nun wirklich nicht irgendwo hingehen von AfD bis Pegida, um Weihnachtslieder christliche singen zu dürfen. Aber wie viele von uns tun denn das noch auf ihren Weihnachtsfeiern in den Kreisverbänden?
In fact, she went on to call on German Christians to take up playing wind instruments and teaching Christmas carols to children to preserve tradition.
Next year there will be elections and Merkel wants to get votes. And she said this for those who might not choose her party, but others, far right or far left parties, because she wants to get re-elected.
Ich will von der Presse.
North Korea has warned South Korea that it will no longer tolerate any form of psychological warfare along the demilitarized zone. The regime's state-run news agency cited the army as saying Seoul's move to set up a large electronic display at the DMZ could lead to direct military conflict. The report said South Korea started installing the 10-metre by 18-metre screen in Cheolwon on Thursday. Pyongyang says the move is pushing an already tense situation to an unpredictable phase.
Well, the US military and Japan's self-defense forces are scheduled to carry out a 13-day joint military exercises starting from today. Japan is expected to send some 25,000 personnel, 20 vessels and some 260 jets. The US is expected to send some 11,000 soldiers, and the drills will be conducted at sites throughout mainland Japan, Okinawa and the Northern Mariana Islands. And Okinawa will see a drill stimulating the scenario of when the US is at war with a third party and Japan offers help. Many believe this is to prepare Japan's self-defense forces for involvement in similar situations.
Russia is sending more warships to Syria for operations against extremist groups. The naval destroyer Smith-Livy has departed from the Crimean port of Sevastopol. The heavily armed ship is heading for the Greek port of Piraeus before it joins its battle group in Syria. The vessel took part in previous operations in Syria back in 2013 and 15. Meanwhile, a Russian naval fleet is also on its way to the Mediterranean Sea. The fleet includes the country's only aircraft carrier, Kuznetsov, a cruiser and several destroyers.
Red alert in a Soviet-style nuclear bunker, where a couple of Russians are racing to prevent a catastrophic strike on the United States.
Nuclear bombs will be launched in 1 hour.
The aim of the quest, the latest gaming craze in Moscow, is to find the nuclear launch codes and deactivate a hidden red button that's already been pressed by a mad Russian general. Of course, it's complete fantasy, but amid the current tensions with Russia, it all feels a little unsettling.
Are you worried that something like this could happen in real life?
Actually, I'm not. No, I'm not thinking about it.
I'm worried because it's very stupid information for both sides. And I know that normal people in all over the world, they don't want any war.
Director James Comey doesn't appear to have many people on his side right now. On Friday, the director wrote a letter to Congress saying the agency is looking at new developments involving Hillary Clinton's private email server. But officials say that move went against the wishes of several top-ranking Justice Department officials, including Attorney General Loretta Lynch. Lynch reportedly told Comey not to notify Congress this close to the election, but he didn't listen. The director said his motivation to rehash the debacle came down to two things. He felt an obligation to lawmakers, and he wanted to remain transparent to the public. Even so, the move apparently isn't in line with Justice Department protocol. One official told the Washington Post, quote, "We don't take steps that will be viewed as influencing an election."
Police are looking for a homeless Donald Trump supporter who was taunted a Trump star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Did you see this video on YouTube?
Oh my goodness!
A homeless woman confronted as she showed her support for Donald Trump and his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
That's bad, like what other people are doing.
This woman's posters showing support for Trump were ripped up, and she ended up on the ground.
No, like, yeah, she's supporting Trump, but like, you don't do that to somebody. Like, that's still rude. Like, she's still a human being. As usual on a weekend, the sidewalk along Hollywood Boulevard was packed today as fans checked out their favorite stars.
Miles Davis, Johnny Depp, of course.
What a week for this star. Sledgehammered earlier this week, James Otis arrested on suspicion of vandalism in that case. And now this star turn. Trump is drawing the biggest crowds on the boulevard today.
We're in Hollywood, so this is something unique. Yeah, a lot of funny people.
Nothing funny about this. The video's gone viral. Trump supporters have taken to Twitter. Alana Mastrangelo writes, Hillary's bullies attack a homeless Trump supporter in front of his Hollywood Walk of Fame star. And another one says, homeless Trump supporter was beaten for defending Trump's Hollywood star. Imagine if a Trump supporter did that to a Hillary supporter. Trump's camp is definitely aware of this. Michael Cohen, executive VP of Trump's organization, put out a plea on Twitter to find this, as they called her, star protector. and has spent the day tweeting updates, including the name and picture of the man they believe shot the video that went viral. LAPD has seen the video and they filed a battery report, but they need to find that woman and speak to her. So far, nobody knows where she is.
This week, people are heading to the polls by the thousands for early voting. If you plan to be one of them, it may be a good idea to show your support for your candidate strictly on the ballot. As Katrina Weber reports, that's a lesson one local man learned the hard way.
Getting out the vote for his candidate has Jose Tovar on his feet for hours. But when it comes to where his feet can go around a polling place, he knows to draw the line.
We're not allowed to get close to where they're doing the voting. And if they do, they kind of stop you.
According to the Secretary of State's election code, all campaigning must be kept at least 100 feet from the polls. And that's not limited to those holding signs.
It can mean a T-shirt, a button, a hat.
Cynthia Jakeway oversees Comal County's elections, where one voter found out the rules also apply to him. 55-year-old Brett Malvey arrested in Bulverde Monday for electioneering, a Class C misdemeanor, after allegedly wearing his choice on his chest, a T-shirt related to the presidential election.
I need to note that the early voting clerk and the presiding judge of each polling place has the authority of a district judge while serving in that capacity.
Jakeway says, according to the election code, wearing any kind of campaign attire inside the polling place is no different from walking in carrying one of these.
I'm kind of shocked. Yeah, because I think that's part of the freedoms that we're voting for.
Just like many people, Georgina Pareda had no idea. Good thing you're dressed in your blue jeans shirt on.
Try to keep it neutral.
It's proof clothes can make a statement, but at the polls, it could lead to an arrest.
We learned Friday the Supreme Court will consider what could be a landmark case for transgender rights. It involves a Virginia high school student who was born female but identifies as male.
Gavin Grimm is the transgender high school student at the center of what is now a Supreme Court case. The High Court will decide whether the female-born 17-year-old can use the boys' restroom, despite objections from the Gloucester Public School District in Virginia.
It's hugely significant.
CBS News chief legal correspondent Jan Crawford says the court's ruling could be used to resolve similar disputes across the country.
From North Carolina to Texas, this decision could really set the law for how schools must treat transgender students.
The Obama administration says transgender students should be allowed to use restrooms and locker rooms consistent with their gender identities. But more than a dozen states have issued a hold on that directive, sparking protests and lawsuits.
North Carolina Governor Pat McCrory might have cost himself his job after championing and signing the discriminatory HB2 law, which prohibits trans people in North Carolina from using public bathrooms that correspond to their gender identity.
Activists protesting the Dakota Access Pipeline called for unity on Saturday. The activists gathered near the burned-out construction vehicles that served as a barricade between activists and officers a day earlier. Following 2 days of confrontation with law enforcement, hundreds of activists remained stationed at an encampment supporting the Standing Rock Sioux's effort to halt construction of the $3.8 billion pipeline. The tribe argues that the oil pipeline threatens water sources and cultural sites. At a rally on Saturday, tribal member Holly Dahl said, "Enough is enough. Natives have been ignored throughout history. Our voices may be small, but we are strong. This is about looking ahead for future generations and protecting our water."
The NYPD is about to hold a press conference. Now that opera was canceled, so was another performance afterwards here at the Metropolitan Opera House. This is what we know right now about the incident that quickly made it onto social media. Police say someone sprinkled suspicious powder into the orchestra pit during the performance of Guillaume Tell at the Metropolitan Opera House during the second intermission. That person apparently fled the scene. One person was exposed. That person was treated at the scene. Now, we are told no danger to the public. No one else was injured.
Overnight, it could be the first creepy clown attack here in San Diego. A man says he was stabbed in the College area
by 4 clowns. A man told police he was skateboarding last night when he got into an argument with someone across the street. He skated away. That's when he says 4 people in clown costumes similar to the ones that you see on your screen attacked him. He was stabbed in the cheek, the shoulder, and the stomach. He is expected to be okay. Police are still investigating this.
Jail time for dressing up as a clown? In Germany, that's a possibility. You've probably heard a lot about creepy clown sightings recently, people getting dressed in colorful costumes and scaring people, or worse. Germany isn't exempt from the craze, and the government says it's cracking down just in time for Halloween. Authorities there say they're taking a zero-tolerance policy on creeping people out with clown outfits, with one justice minister throwing out the possibility of a year-long jail sentence. The move comes on the heels of some very real crimes in Germany. One clown attacked and injured a 19-year-old with a baseball bat. In a different incident, a woman says a clown frightened her with a chainsaw, and those are just a few cases. German retailers have even pulled clown masks from shelves to curb the trend. Germany isn't alone in its clown panic. Target recently pulled clown masks from its shelves, and McDonald's is cutting back on local appearances featuring its famous clown mascot, Ronald McDonald. Of course, with Halloween quickly approaching, there's fear these incidents could increase even more, something German officials have said.
Halloween began over 2,000 years ago with the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain. During the festival, the Celtic pagan priest would engage in occult practices of witchcraft, Satanism, and paganism. The Druid priest would celebrate hell and death during the Samhain. The Druids taught that roaming spirits loosed on the Samhain were searching for a body to possess. The firstborn children were sacrificed because they were pure. Druids would drink the blood and eat the flesh of innocent children to purge themselves of sin. The Catholic Church wanted to convert other religious holidays and practices. They turned the demon dress-up party into an All Souls Day or All Saints Day. Instead of people dressing up as demons, they were ordered to dress up as angels and saints. Children from poor families would knock door to door begging for food or money in exchange for songs and prayers on the behalf of their dead relatives, which became known as souling. While people may dress up and think it's all fun and games, some people actually live out the lifestyle of these demonic spirits. Witches are the queens of Halloween. They worship the devil and show their allegiance to Satan by trampling their feet on the cross and blaspheming the name of Jesus.